Hello and good evening, everyone. My name is Amy McDevitt, and I want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am the Vice President of Sales with Dumroo.ai, and this is our very first podcast. So we are all very excited to be here. The title for our podcast is Teachers Battle Burnout and Rekindle Joy. And so what I'd like to do first is introduce you to our panel, and then we can get into some questions. If anyone that is watching this evening would like to go ahead and ask questions in the chat, if we can get to those questions, we're happy to do so as well. So let me go ahead and introduce our panel first. First, we have Alok Rai. He is the founder and CEO of Dumroo.ai, EdTech entrepreneur, strategic advisor, FinTech executive. Next, we have Lisa Perry. She is a TED Talk and keynote speaker, K-12 teacher and university adjunct professor, leader, mentor, Principal Matters and Dumroo.ai associate, and featured in Wired and USA Today for innovative AI use. And we have Savya Rai as well, president and CFO of Dumroo.ai. Again, the topic for this evening is Teachers Battle Burnout and Rekindle Joy. Let me start with the first question to pose to our panel. The first question is, what current trends do we see in teacher satisfaction and retention? And I'd like to go ahead and give you some statistics that I researched this week with regards to this conversation. According to a study from the American Educational Research Association, teachers in the US are 40% more likely to experience symptoms of anxiety in comparison with healthcare workers, 20% more likely than office workers, and 30% more likely than workers in other professions like farming and military. So I'd like to ask Lisa to begin with some information regarding that question and give us some feedback as well.
Thanks, Amy. I would start out by saying that anyone who works with people definitely has potential to be burned out and to lose a little bit of joy in their career. I've spent a lot of years in the K-12 space, and my experience has been that some of the factors that we deal with on a daily basis really do kind of start to wear away. The first thing that I'm thinking about is just cognitive and sensory overload, all day, every day. Just people asking questions, people needing something, decision fatigue. And a lot of people talk about teachers multitasking, but the research tells us multitasking isn't really a thing. If you're trying to devote your attention to two things, you're probably not doing very well with either of them. The other thing that we're seeing a lot now, and we're seeing it more, I think, post-COVID, is what they call secondhand trauma. When you work with kids and you hear their stories, you hear their family stories, you hear some of the things that they're experiencing. And that, when you love these kids, that goes into your heart and it weighs on you too. And so all this stimulus, secondhand trauma, and then the last thing that I think really plays into this idea of burnout and what I like to call disillusionment is mood suppression. If you're in a bad mood and you're a teacher, you put on this face and you give the kids what they need and you pour yourself into them, and then you go home and you fall apart. And it's not easy for the educator, and it's also not easy for the educator's family, because you're putting your best self at work and then you're bringing this crabby version home. And even when teachers are able to mask, when they're not 100%, when they're getting frazzled, their students know that. And so they're spending 8 hours a day with a professional who is just ragged. And I definitely think that compromises the K-12 system and the teaching and learning that's supposed to be going on in our schools.
Thank you, Lisa. Would any of our other panel members like to add to the conversation?
Yeah, I think that with just like to, I totally agree with Lisa, and I think that just to add to the current situation that we are in, with like budget cuts and teachers being laid off, it's just gonna add to it more, right? So teachers who are left because they truly are devoted to teaching will have more to do now with less resources. So I think it just seems like that the situation or government or the system is not really helping right now. Thinking about helping how to fix this thing, right? So this is a big problem, and I think it's very critical because our children, who are the future of the country and the world, they rely on our teachers, right? They are the one who's building the future. So I'm very concerned as a parent and as a citizen.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
think
Thank you.
too. I think also that when when kids look at their teachers, and again, people with whom they spend a lot of time, and they see people who are just, constantly in a state of, trying to do more, trying to get more, trying to balance more, trying to give more. That, because we're models, they start to think that that's the way that work is supposed to look. And work should not look like that. Work should have some balance to it. And so I think that even though I would never say to a kid, boy, teaching is hard, here's all the things we have to battle, we're slogging through every day for you. I'd never say that, but they see it on us. And then they think that becomes a normal, that becomes a norm. And I think that that's also a dangerous thing, because we know that burnout, disillusionment in any field is not physically healthy, it's not emotionally healthy, it's not socially healthy. And those, and then cognitively, those are the 4 domains that we're trying to support kids in. But if we're not living that way, then we're being hypocritical. Mm-hmm. And we're not really showing them what it means to be a satisfied, contributing, fulfilled professional.
Yeah, I agree with both of you as well. And I think that anyone who's joining us this evening, if they also have some comments that they would like to share, please do so. We appreciate your feedback and anything that you would like to share during the conversation. What I'll do now is move to the second question, and we can go to that particular one. In what ways do teachers' burnout and exodus impact teaching and learning? Luke, would you like to share some side feedback on that as well?
Yeah, I think that in continuation to the previous comment I made, teachers are like there is a stat out there on NSA, and it says, or NES, sorry, and it says that 50% of the teachers, more than 50% of the teachers who join, they leave teaching profession within first year. That's alarming, right? Teaching used to be this passionate profession where people, like teachers, used to love going there and they used to love making a difference in the world, right? But if their drop rate is so high, where are we heading, right? So, and of course, we all know that these are like research-based facts, and we have seen the experience of ourselves as parents as well. We know that teachers, students, or children don't learn by what you're speaking, right?
Right.
They learn how you're feeling, how you're acting. So all these things is very concerning and alarming for me. As I said, I have 2 kids. One is in 12th grade, one is in one is 6th grade, and one is in 4th grade. And I myself see the day I'm stressed because I'm overloaded with work, and I come home and I talk to them. It's just like there's no they don't listen to me, right? They are busy with their own work. But the day I'm relaxed, I'm talking to them, and we have a nice time. There's a big difference. So there is a direct impact on our children, mental and academic health, I think. Lisa,
Yeah, I just would like to add to what Alok said. When we lose new teachers, and I'm a writing teacher, so I like words. And I tell everybody I talk to that new teachers, those in the first 3 years, they're not burning out. They are disillusioned. There is such a chasm between what they thought teaching was going to be. You know, I played teacher when I was little. I made my brother sit at the table and write his name 1,000 times. Any neighborhood kid who came over, we played school all the time. And so you have this idealized vision of, you know, a classroom and time and all of these connections, and you think that you're going to be able to just change the world. And then you're met with the reality that there are 1 million things expected of you and time to do 1,000 of them. And here's the really scary part, Alok. It's the best to leave. Because if you're not bothered that you can't meet everyone's needs, then you'll hang on forever. So the mediocre and the slackers, they can stay. But anybody who's a high achiever, anybody who is just going to, you know, wants the best and can't live with anything less, those are the young people we lose. And those are the young people we can least afford to lose. And that disillusionment really scares me. And that's why I think it's such a good time to talk about, Dumroo.ai, because I feel like, especially in the hands of young teachers who are they're tech savvy, they're already embracing AI, they're in love with it, and they need that assistant to just kind of help them keep their nose above water, because they want to be there, but they're drowning in duties.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to the next question, and which is, how can AI earn teacher trust when past EdTech tools have overpromised and underdelivered? And I'm going to pass this to Alok to start.
Okay, so that's a loaded question, and I think I will try my best to not go on forever because just a little bit of my experience with the education industry. You know, I have been involved in education at some capacity for my entire career, and more actively also in the last decade. And what we did was we in our other venture where we are like non-tech, and we are just like helping schools with any need they had, especially post-COVID, with the intervention, special needs, substitute teachers. Our staff, including my partner Savia, they will go to the school and work with the teachers and help them out in the classrooms. And we get to work with the principal, and we get to work with the district leaders, because we have to give them monthly reports. What I found out was this: each school uses like typically 5 to 12, maybe 15 if it's extreme, different tech platforms. And what happens is those tech platforms are really robust and really good at what they are supposed to do, right? Like if you talk about those vertical products, they are really good for just doing what they were brought in for. The problem comes here because the concern is that the data they're disconnected, they're disjointed, they're fragmented. What does it mean? That intelligence in all those vertical products are not shared across the board. So which means what? In reality, a teacher, to be effectively using those platforms or tools, they'll have to go to different platforms and get information out of it in form of different kind of data, and then try to put it together and try to make sense out of it. And that's not what a teacher is supposed to do. That's not their job title, right? So what happens? All the promises that were done within sales is going to improve learning, is going to improve your life, is going to get you more information. All that kind of went down the drain because, yes, they were really good tools. I'm not saying they were bad tools, but they were not usable by the teacher. That's the problem, right? And that's what we embarked on. How do we fix that? How do we change that? And in forming the vision for Dumroo.ai, we said we are at the right place with the right knowledge, with the right background, and AI is picking up. And I think that the best use case of AI was this. How do we, like AI can now, our system can now connect with all these different platforms and verticals, gather
Right.
all the intelligence, let's just call it that intelligence, which is data, and it's able to now bring it together, analyze it, and
Mhm.
give teacher what? Actionable items for each student,
Right.
right? So
Right.
guess what? Will they use it? Of course they will, because when they go into the student dashboard, they see each students what exactly and where exactly they need help,
Mhm.
right? It's not only intelligence of the all the systems or assessment, it's also teacher intelligence, teacher observation, because teacher knows the student best. So when
Mhm.
so the our AI platform take all that shared intelligence across the different platforms, put teachers' observation and teachers' knowledge of the student in the mix, and give teacher uh, like how like what's the best way to help that student. Now teacher can take it as a reference point, and then they can use it as they would like to, and create a personalized lesson plan. So I think that the problem I think was usability. They were not user friendly, and they were just like fragmented.
Mhm.
So I didn't want to pitch Dumroo in this answer, but I think I had to talk about it just to explain the problem and the solution itself.
Yeah, yeah, no, I can appreciate that. The other thing I'd like to say as a parent, I think that AI has basically blossomed all over the internet, and to your point, everyone's using bits and pieces of it, right? And not really knowing the capacity or the reasons or how to focus on it being a component of a student's education and their journey. And I think that one thing about what you're presenting to teachers, administrators, students, parents like myself is the ability to start from the beginning and see where students are aligned with their curriculum and their education, and then what that journey looks like. And then everyone is working together from the beginning rather than just pulling something up on the internet and trying to use it and winging it, right?
Yeah.
No one feels in control. It's not a controlled environment, but I appreciate the fact that this is more of a let's all work together, to help the students succeed as a group. So I appreciate that too as a parent. So well, let's move on to the next question.
I just wanted to
What?
add one more thing,
Oh, I'm
Amy.
sorry.
So the phrase to remember here is shared intelligence.
Mm,
Isolated intelligence is not useful. It's the shared intelligence, right? And that's what AI is capable of. AI is
mhm,
not just this, fun tool to generate content always, like generate images. I mean, those, yes, in the beginning, people wants to have fun with it, and that's what a lot of people and companies are having fun. But it's when you put that into perspective of all other things that it can do, and bring it together, and
mhm,
give not data reports, not intelligence, actionable actionable items to focus on. I think that's what makes the difference here.
mhm.
And that's what we're trying to achieve here. It's not just a generative tool to create lesson plan or an image or a video. It's truly an AI's ecosystem that brings it all together. And as I said, actionable items to the teacher.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much. The next question is, what benefits will Dumroo.ai produce for teachers and students? And I'm not sure if Lisa, if you'd like to start, or Savia, if you'd like to begin.
I was thinking while Alok was talking about the superstores that we now have in the United States. Target is a really prominent superstore across the nation, and the reason that does so well is that I can go there and buy laundry detergent and a greeting card and Diet Dr. Pepper and a beach towel and.
Mhm.
And as you were talking, Alok, I was just thinking about how the parallels there. Because instead of going somewhere to buy a card and going somewhere to buy treats for my dog and going somewhere to buy milk and going somewhere to buy socks, I go into a Target, a Walmart. We have a Lewis chain around here, and they're vastly popular because they're doing exactly what you're doing. They're bringing it all together for the convenience of the customer. And we had talked before about, you always want to start with the pain point and then offer a solution, which is always the way to get people to think and act differently. And one of the pain points, and you articulated it beautifully, is that we're everywhere for 10 different things, and it's like drinking out of a fire hose. It's impossible. So then what happens? All of the money that's been put into these programs was for naught, because we don't use them unless they make us. And then when they make us, we use them only as much as they make us use them. And we're just like, we are barely complying because we don't see any value. And you were saying too, on the actionable items, there's two things I love most about Dumroo.ai. The first one is it's going to care what my personal input is. But as a teacher, gone are the days of teaching kids information, like what you know. We have transitioned to what are you teaching them to do? Okay? Same thing you're doing. We're going from giving you information so you know to that next step, which is huge, which is now here's what you can do. And there are too few things out there that go that next level with do. And so as a teacher, we got to know some things first. Now we're going to do something with it. Knowing something is not worth anything anymore. Yeah. It's about the action that you can take. And so this, it checks both of those boxes. It puts everything together under one roof, like Target does, and it helps me do something. Because knowledge without any action, what is the use? There isn't. So I love that.
And Savia, hopefully our connection, we can hear you. Oh, I think we can hear you. Go right ahead.
Okay, all right. So before we move on, I think there are some comments I would like to read out. We have Vidhi Agrawal saying, I personally feel experienced team can be better option to guide students than intelligence in their career growth. We also have Dr. Doug Loughborough. And here's a question, how can AI tool reduce burnout and rekindle joy for teachers?
That's the title of our talk today.
Okay.
Good one.
So yeah, we can move on to the next question.
Okay, sure, most definitely. So the next question is, what safeguards ensure Dumroo.ai won't replace teachers, but instead support them?
That's such an important question. And it's the most frequently asked question as well. And honestly, it's one of the question I think deeply about as a founder and as a human being, now that we are talking about artificial intelligence. And we all know every time a new wave of technology rolls in, people start worrying about what's going to happen. Are you going to replace me? Or there is a robot who will be working instead of me, in place of me. So what's going to happen? How's the future look like? And that fear is valid. We have seen it like in every revolution, starting from industrial age to digital age currently going on. So all these fears are valid, and these are the questions looking for an answer. And what I can kind of like put a light onto these questions is by saying that what different in terms of my platform is bringing on the table is to not to replace teachers, but to retain them and at the same time empower them. So we are not trying to replicate through an AI our teachers. In fact, we are bringing teachers together, taking whatever, too much they have in their plate so that we can take the tasks from them and we can help them out so that they can spend more time what truly matters for them, which is in the classroom with their students, right? So let's be real. No, we are not artificial intelligence, or in the form of artificial intelligence, we are not replicating teachers, and we are not bringing artificial intelligence to the classroom, right? Because really importantly, we need to understand that the warmth in the teacher's voice, teachers can understand when the students are going low, they're losing
Mhm.
their confidence, or the way they spark curiosity in the classroom. They can notice very easily just by looking at the child when the child is, falling behind emotionally or academically, when the child need empathy, relationship building, confidence. These are all human characteristics, and personality cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. That's a sacred, kind of like characteristics of a human being. Only human being can provide other human being to be in the same nature, right? So
Right.
what artificial intelligence is trying to do, or what Dumroo in form of artificial intelligence bringing into this school districts or into the teacher's life, is handling the surrounding noise. By
Yeah.
saying noise means like, you teachers are not even trained to work, um, they're trained basically to work as a teacher, right? They're not trained to work as a tech support or doing administrative tasks, which they are putting endless hours into,
Mhm.
right? So what we are doing is we are saying that here you go, we have this artificial intelligence tool, which is going to take away all your tedious tasks and will give you the moment back so that you can spend more time with your students. So it's not replacing teacher, but it's in fact empowering them with more clarity, efficiency, and support. Support that's very, very important. They always look forward to, but they hardly get, right? And yes, the fear is real. And by saying that, I mean it's not about fearing artificial intelligence, but it's more of a question of figuring out how to use it ethically, responsibly, and with the purpose.
Yeah,
Right?
I
And
think
I take pride in saying that Dumroo is built with the teachers, keeping the teachers in the center point, keeping them in mind, because we understand that the future of education should be led with educators, not like without them or replacing them with some tools technologically designed by some techies. That's what I feel, that nobody is replacing teachers here.
thank you.
I just really want to add, I am a principal also. And guess what I have? An administrative assistant. Somebody who takes care of all of the things that only takes care of the things that she can do so that I only have to worry about the things that only I can do. And there are some things only I can do. But a lot of things go to my assistant who's next door. Meanwhile, we've got teachers with 20, 30, 35 kids in a classroom. I'm one person. I got a one-to-one thing going on here. Somebody to help me the whole day. We've got teachers who have a lot of, Savi used the word tedious tasks. That's exactly right. Things that don't require their expertise, things that don't require their cognitive load, their time. And it's interesting because I think everybody is so afraid of this being a replacement, but as Savia said, it's exactly the opposite. This is about making sure that we keep people, and the best people, because the slackers don't care. They'll just float along. But it just occurs to me that leaders, you, principals and soups, you have an assistant. You do. And
Yeah.
I don't know why your teachers should not. And of course, we're not going to employ a human for every one of those. This is, and it's better because of the way it pulls information together. This is handing your teachers an assistant and saying, here, let this take care of some of those things so that you can love the kids.
Right. Yeah. And I really want to bring this up because I read this a few days ago. there was a survey I was reading about, and it says that that nearly 55% of the teachers are considering leaving their teaching profession earlier than planned. So guess what? And also the primary reason of them, you know, thinking about something else, or taking another job,
Mhm.
is simply because of the burnout, workload, and lack of support. As I've spoken, like, lack of support is something which is huge. There are so many fragmented tools out there, and everybody is using something or the other to make their life easier, but the amount of professional development required, and to kind of like put together a nice picture out of all these data tools is so difficult, and very, it seems like a little unachievable task for the teachers at the moment.
Yeah.
Just, but just to add to that, I know we've spoken about this thing for a few minutes now. I want to answer Dr. Love's question. So this is how we
Mhm.
reduce uh, the teacher burnout, because we're taking all those tedious tasks away from them, so they can truly focus on what they are joyful about, what they like, right? Which is teaching and spending time with the kids, right? So, Dr. Love, this is how we are using AI to reduce burnout and rekindle joy for teachers with Dumroo.ai. Thanks for asking that question.
Mhm.
And I think the second point was, we spoke about this thing in the beginning, that students don't learn from instructions. Students learn from the warmth of the teacher, interaction. Going to school is not just academic learning, it's an experience that AI can never replace. Never replace. Maybe in, I don't know, another, I don't know, 50 years. Not yet. Let me just say that, right? So I think that's what we have to we have to understand, that warmth, human to human warmth, can never be replaced by an AI.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone on the panel, for addressing that question. The last question I had on our list is probably one of the toughest ones. So I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's feedback. How can we be sure student data and privacies are protected?
Okay, I guess that's the question for me. um, so as I said, that we were working with the school before even like visioning Dumroo.ai. We were working for
Right.
school with many years, and we know that how important that data is. As I said, we have two kids, and I don't want my kids' data. I mean, I'm a very skeptical person. I'm a very conservative person in that respect. I'm not even in favor of putting my child picture on social media, right? So,
Right.
but that's me. People love putting these pictures. That's fine. So what we
Mhm.
did was this: we understood that there are certain requirements. We actually understand, our team understands the regulations pretty well. So the FERPA, the COPA, the CIPA for California. So when we're designing our platform, we build that security layer right at the foundation of the platform, right? And then of course there are other things. I don't want to go too technical here, but we built multiple layers, different like modular databases, and made sure that technologically we are robust, that our data will never be leaked, and we already write in the contract with the schools that we don't plan to share the data we have with any third party at all.
Mhm.
The last thing is that if school is really concerned about that, even want to go for one further step, we have in our system created a way to only have student ID and the student first name, so no PII information. Our system will work without any PII information, just with the student ID and the first name. So that will make the data anonymous anyways.
Got it. Would anyone else like to share anything from the panel?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, I believe schools and teachers should have full control over their data, right?
Mhm.
Our job is just to support learning and focusing on the learning part, not on monetizing information or doing anything related to data. That's not our vision, and that's not included in how we are shaping up our platform. So trust is really important. Trust is everything in education, and we do understand that. We are up for protecting our students' privacy because that's the foundational part of any learning, aspect. So
Mhm.
keeping trust and making sure that everything is adhere to the privacy laws is very, very important to us. So we have led our platform, our foundation is based on these privacy um, federal laws and state laws.
And then we do welcome anybody who wants to check out our audit to see how the rest of our platform is.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we have one more comment here, and I would like to read this. It's from Tracy Tanner. Um, Thank you for commenting. And he says technology in the classroom is inevitable. It's how we employ it that determines its value. Technology can and will enhance the learning experience if it is coupled with human interaction, not in the absence of humanity.
Very
And
well.
that's, I think he's bang on. He's absolutely correct. I agree to it 100%.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, and I think it kind of encompasses what everyone shared, right? With regards to the human component, the fact that, AI is not potentially coupled with the emotional aspect of children, the classroom environment, what are children going through, right, themselves. It takes that teacher interaction to be able to put all the pieces together, right? And I think Alok made a comment about AI being able to take away some of those other tasks so that teachers can focus on the students and being able to enhance their educational experience, their overall experience without, getting burned out, as we've been talking about, during the podcast. So it's all encompassing. That's great.
I
I
think
don't know that
there's
we have any other questions. Go ahead, Lisa.
I just think that there's a misconception that the more you adopt technology, the less you interact as people. But I think they're parallel, right?
Mhm.
In this way, with this platform, the more you adopt technology, the more human interaction you have. So it's not, it doesn't go this way. They go up together
Mhm.
because you're freeing yourself up to be a person and not somebody who is, you know, getting data, making sense of the data, figuring out what to do with the data. Computer is really good at that.
Mhm.
A person is really good at making somebody feel special. A person is really good at making someone feel welcome. A
Mhm.
person is really good at being the source of support for a student who is having a hard time. And I'll add this too. We also, as educators, we need each other because I might be really struggling and I'll need one of my coworkers to kind of pick me up. And if they've got the bandwidth to do that because they've had something else to, take care of these tedious tasks, I think that that's just so important too, because teachers helping teachers is important. We are a good source of support for one another, but when we are too frazzled, I mean, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Age
Mhm.
old adage. And when we're empty, we can't pour into students, we cannot pour into one another, and then you really get a dark, dark cloud that hangs over the school. And we want, well, we want sunshine. I didn't even mean to do that, but I just I honestly, that just happened. But we need sunshine, don't we? Don't we, Alok?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lisa, for bringing this perspective because I was not even thinking that way. It's such a great perspective, and thank you for sharing it with us because now it's making me think that you're right. Actually, technology and human can be friends with each other,
Mhm.
right? Why we have to always speak about it's going to be, we always talk as if any technology is kind of like becoming an enemy. Why can't we think it as a great source of great, friendship
Mhm. Yeah.
in the coming future? So we can, yeah.
I think that it's the age old thing. It's not the technology people are concerned about, it's the change that how it's going to impact their life. You
Right.
know, remember back in 1900s when the automobile came and they were like, oh, iron monster on the road on the loose is going to kill everybody, right? And look at it. Can you even live a day without a car, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to ask a question to our viewers and the teachers out there, and please comment on, and I would to hear all kind of perspective. Has has technology taken time away from you so far, or has it given time back to you? Right? That's the question you need to ask, and and I think that our pilot school have shown that the by using Dumroo.ai, they were able to reduce their um, these these admin tasks, non-teaching tasks by 80%. And these are numbers; these are factual numbers. So, and which what does it mean? It means that overall, teachers got 40% of their total capacity back, which now, to Lisa's point, they can spend more with the kids and help peer teachers. And one of the comment also said that experienced team is the best way to help teachers. I totally agree, but that's what we're trying to give. We're trying to give the time back to the teachers so they can help each other as well.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that Lisa's comment regarding teachers working together, things should be in parallel. Alok, I'd like to ask you to address, if you can, um, the reason, which sounds like it's part of it, the teachers community. Can you discuss that briefly? And, really the potential for, to Lisa's point, teachers being able to come together in the community in Dumroo.ai and learn together and be able to work in the classrooms with the platform.
Yeah. So we do have an app called like micro app called Community AI. So, and again, I think that's probably a topic for the next time. Uh, but as I said in the beginning, it's an ecosystem, and the idea was to connect different platforms together. But all the other part was connecting different stakeholders together. So teachers, parents, administrators, and student. So what we did was we tried to create a view into the child's life and learning experience and the learning path for each of the stakeholder, right? And along with that, we also create a community group within the platform where teachers can share what they have built using AI or just like any other practice that they have done in their class, which help some student. So sharing that experience, as I said, shared intelligence by AI and shared intelligence by our teachers. I think that's the key. And that's what we're trying to be. And again, I don't think we are there yet. It's a journey. I think AI has just started to come mainstream. And I think it's going to be an evolution process. The the one thing that we are very, very careful about and emphasize on is making sure that evolution comes from teacher, not from us, not from technologists, from teachers. That's why we're spending a lot of time take like asking teachers for feedback and telling us what should we build next and what we want to change in the system. So that's the key. We need to build a tool, not a tool, but we need to build a technology or evolve the technology driven by teachers, not by technologists. And that's
Yes.
the gap we see today in the market.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think also in terms of our audience and anyone who has attended our first podcast, there may be people out there that are interested in potentially utilizing the product, perhaps, taking a look at it for a few weeks. What I'm going to recommend is if you go to the Dumroo.ai website, at the top of the page, there's an area that says contact. And if you go ahead and fill out the information on the website, and in the subject line, you can actually put in there a podcast code, then what we can do is send you information on how to be able to work with the program for several weeks, complimentary, and be able to get a look and feel of the product. You can always reach out to myself or anyone else in regards to additional information, but that starts the ability to, to get your feet wet in what the product has. And with that being said, also in the contact information at the top of the website, because this is our first podcast, we really want everyone else's feedback and information on what they'd like our future podcasts to entail. So if you fill out the contact information and in the subject, you go ahead and put podcast and give us some ideas on potential podcasts for the future. We'll be doing this every week. We'll have some new speakers as part of our panel, and we're really looking forward to everyone coming back as well. We really appreciate your time. So would anyone else on the panel like to make a couple more comments?
I think that first of all, what Tracy Tanner wrote. I love it. Like I just love this what he wrote, right? That
Yes.
human being, like the cars are faster, but they still need a human being to drive it, right? It just made them more efficient to go from point A to point B. But I think towards in the end, I'd like to really thank Miss Lisa Perry to become kind of work with us on this journey to even help us evolve this thing further. And I think that in this journey together, she kind of realized that we are on to something, right? I think how AI can really help. So I think I really want to thank you for helping us and to go in the right direction, course correct where needed. So thank you again.
I could not be more pleased to be involved. Everything that we've talked about tonight is true, and it is going to be revolutionary. I just believe that, and can't wait to just spread the word to more people, because I think it's going to be like wildfire once it gets going. It's going to take off.
Thank you.
I also would like to thank you, Lisa and Amy and Said, to putting this
Oh, yes.
first podcast together. It was a great experience, and I am looking forward to have many more coming soon. Yes, this was our first podcast, so yeah, I still have my frozen screen. I would figure out in my next podcast to make sure that my camera and everything is working fine. But yes, I'm looking forward. I'm really excited. The product that we have, I'm so happy and excited to share it with you all. And I just am so positive, and I'm feeling so blessed that we were able to um, envision and put this together. And today here we are to share it with you. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
thank you.
Amy, thank you. And again, the behind the camera team, you know how crucial that is. So Saeed, thanks for making it happen. And I think it's a team effort, and this is a great team. It's buzzing, it's excited, we are all motivated. I just love it. I can't ask for any better team.
Yeah, thank you everyone so much. And it's been a pleasure to have the first podcast tonight. We will see everyone again next week, and we'll get another intriguing topic underway. So for now, everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
No, it says go live, but we're not going to go live.
I think that was